Hello, this is Attorney Adam Morris at Plymouth and Dingus here in Columbus, Ohio. Back with you to give you some helpful tips if you're ever in a motor vehicle collision while you're out driving on the roads. If you saw my last blog, you know we talked a little bit about the insurance coverages that make you roadworthy in Ohio and what those insurance coverages can help do to protect you and your family. But what happens if you're actually in one of those collisions that you've prepared for? Being in a collision can be a very scary experience for anyone involved. Whether it be a rear end collision, a T-bone, or a head-on collision, all have the same or similar things that you want to do after that collision has occurred. Usually when a motor vehicle collision occurs, the first thing to do is call 911. That's whether you're injured or not injured, because you want to make sure that you're reporting it to the proper authorities. Sometimes they will send police out to the scene, and sometimes police will decline to come out if there's no serious injuries or need for immediate medical attention. If that is the case, you'll probably be told, exchange information, including insurance information, and let the insurance companies figure it out. Now this may be good in the moment, but if you find yourself later needing medical treatment and find yourself in a you said, they said situation, where after the fact the facts or how the incident occurred seem a little bit more blurry to the insurance companies, who mind you will always take the side of their insured, then you need to make sure you've collected that evidence to be able to prove your case and help get you compensated for your injuries. If police come out to the scene, a lot of times they'll do some of that initial investigation. They'll look at the scene, they'll look at the lights or other traffic signals, they'll look at how the collision occurred, and sometimes they'll determine an at-fault party. And sometimes they won't be able to determine an at-fault party. But it's always good to do your own independent evidence collection. That way your case is as strong as it can be if it ever needs to be presented to an insurance company or in the court of law. So the first thing that you want to do, usually after calling 911, is to make sure that you're in a safe position on the road. All of the tips that I'm about to give you have one rule to follow. Never put yourself in a more dangerous situation than you're already in. If you're unable to do something that I talk about today without being sure of your safety, do not do it, because you don't want to make a situation into an even worse situation should something happen to you while you're on an active or busy road. So let's jump into these things that you should do at the scene, or at least keep an eye on to help your attorney if necessary. The first thing you want to do is, if possible, before moving the vehicles, take pictures. That means take pictures of the intersection or the roadway where it occurred, take pictures of the houses or the business along that roadway, pictures of both vehicles where they lie, the damage to both vehicles, and if possible, a picture of the driver's license and insurance card of the other person or persons involved in the collision. If you can't do this safely, make sure to move your vehicle to a safe location, but make sure that you are taking those photographs at some point while you're at the scene. The next thing that you want to do is look at your surroundings. Now, sometimes there'll be businesses or even residential households that have cameras available to you. And sometimes the intersection or roadway will even have cameras. Now, the difficulty with this is most cameras usually hold their data for 24 to 72 hours, meaning that after 3 days after the collision, that could be lost forever. And oftentimes, you're not able to get into an attorney or start this investigation within that time period. So your evidence collection becomes very important to your case moving forward. The other thing that you need to make sure that you're doing, as I mentioned earlier, is getting the information of the other driver. If the other driver pulls off for some reason, at least try to get a license plate, a picture of the license plate, or some sort of marker that would allow you to give us information or your attorney information about that car. Because even using a license plate, we can oftentimes track down who was driving the vehicle at the time. Now, after you've collected this information, you want to make sure that you store it in a safe location. If you need to get a new phone or something and you may lose it, make sure that you're saving it to a USB drive or to your computer or somewhere off of the phone. That way, if it's lost, it's not lost forever. You can even save it to the cloud if that's something that you use. But this will all be used to help prove your case later down the road and make sure that you are fully compensated for the injuries that you may have received from that collision, and you're ready to prove that in the instance that the other driver's story changes after the fact, from at the scene they say that they're liable to afterwards telling you that they're not liable. And again, make sure that you're protecting your interests before you get on the road, while you're on the roads, and in the instance that you're in a motor vehicle collision, after it's occurred, as you move forward with your claim. Other than the photographs that you should take at the scene, another very important thing to do is look for witnesses. Those being independent witnesses or individuals that may stop or talk to you who weren't directly involved in the collision. So other passerby motorists, people on the side of the street, and talk to those individuals about what they saw. You don't need to get full written explanations from them as far as what they witnessed or anything like that, but it's important to get their information, a name, a phone number, an address, or some way that you could contact them if you need them to come and give testimony at some point that helps your case. If police do respond to the scene and conduct their investigation, they may issue a ticket to one of the drivers involved, essentially stating that that driver was liable for causing the collision. Now, if you did not receive that citation and the other driver or one of the other drivers involved did, they may choose to attempt to fight that in traffic court and find themselves not liable for that ticket. So what that means is you may receive a summons to come to court and give evidence as a witness to the collision. Evidence as to your injuries, about how the collision occurred, and you can also use any evidence you collected in helping that person be convicted of that traffic offense. If the other driver is convicted of a traffic offense, it can be beneficial in your claim with the insurance company because a court of law has already found them liable for the collision. Now, this doesn't happen in every case because someone can choose to just pay the ticket without showing up to court. But if you are issued a summons to come in and talk about that collision, it's imperative that you do so to protect your rights and interests. If you are transported from the scene via EMS or a family or friend because you have severe injuries from that collision, an important thing will be to send someone that you trust back to the scene of the collision to document this evidence if you're unable to do so. If you've been admitted to the hospital, send a friend or family member out to take pictures of the intersection or the roadway where it occurred, and also look for those videos that may be available. Again, that 24 to 72 hour range doesn't seem like a very short time until you're actually living it. And with how long insurance claims may last, it's very important to have someone, whether it be you or that family or friend, do that immediately after the collision. Now, it's always a good idea to contact an attorney right away should you be in a motor vehicle collision. But remember, not all attorneys may be able to get out to that scene to do that evidence collection if you're up against a time limit of videos or other important evidence being destroyed or being misplaced at that time. So always protecting your own case is going to be the most important thing for you to do. Now, we've went over a lot of things here today, and I think it's important for you to have some sort of preparedness kit ready for you, whether it be a checklist or something else that prepares you for what you need to collect if you're ever in a collision. The most important thing is to always keep yourself safe and ready out on the roads. Make sure that you're being safe out there, Ohio.